Thank you for staying with us. Classrooms used to be safe havens for many children, but in recent times, attacks on schools have turned places of hope into symbols of vulnerability and fear. Out of that crisis, the Safe Schools Initiative was launched to ensure no child chooses between education or survival. Zanret Dingman will tell us more.
In 2014, after the abduction of more than 250 schoolgirls in Chibok, the Safe Schools Initiative aims to serve as a response and preventive framework to protect schools, students and teachers in high-risk areas. However, over the years, the federal government has moved the initiative from donor-led emergency to national policy adopted in 2021, which now guides the state governments on high-risk assessment, early warning systems and rapid response protocols, with the National Safe Schools Response Coordination Center set up under the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps to act as the nerve center for intelligence sharing and quick deployment.
We provided and established a female squad and what we call the Safe School Protection Squad, which I tell you is on record. We have a presence in all the 37 states. We are also present in all the 773 local government, including the districts.
Still, gaps remain as many schools in rural areas still lack perimeter fencing, functional communication links, or trained personnel to protect them, creating a dent on the initiative's success. And while the policy seems watertight, it is now at risk of becoming just another well-written document existing on the pages of paper, especially with school abductions now resurfacing. Meanwhile, the federal government seeks better collaboration with state governments in domesticating the policy, adapting to the local threats, and engaging community-based early warning systems, anonymous reporting hotlines, and school mapping to help contain the threats.
Activities are quiet. It's not that they're working. We saw the center. They have about 8,000 already on the platform. But what we've done, we will migrate it onto the platform here. We've also talked about easy access. We're changing the number of their toll-free number to a 3-digit number, which they're going to do quickly.
With security at the heart of the strategy and security agencies collaborating to conduct joint training, school security drills, patrols and community engagement, with the right momentum in sustaining real-time action, perhaps the next chapters in this story will bring solace, not pain. In Abuja, Zanret Dingman, NTA News.
Well, experts are saying adoption of technology such as installations of CCTV cameras, alarm systems, perimeter sensors, and emergency alert applications linked to rapid security response units are highly recommended. Now, this is the take of some stakeholders, like I mentioned, based on the recent abduction of teachers and pupils in some local government areas across the country, especially Borno and Oyo State. Kendi Omolosho reports.
The fragility of school security in Nigeria has again been laid bare with the abduction of pupils and teachers at Ahor Esinle. This has thrown families and communities into mourning and anguish. One wonders about the effectiveness of the Safe School Initiative, a collaborative effort involving the government, private sector, and international partners designed to strengthen school infrastructure, improve security presence, expand emergency plans, and relocate students from high-risk areas.
The Parents-Teacher Association must jointly contribute resources to provide perimeter fence and perhaps CCTV cameras, perhaps some fortification of local vigilantes around schools.
Oyo State is, however, leaving no stones unturned as efforts are being made to return the abducted pupils and teachers back safely.
Doing everything within our power to ensure that normalcy returns, and also, by God's grace, that the children and the teachers abducted, are returned as quickly as possible.
Government at all levels have been advised to ensure that the right to education without discrimination becomes a reality for all Nigerians. Kendi Omolosho, NTA News.
All right, we have a guest in the studio, Group Captain Sadiq Shehu, retired security expert, former spokesperson of the Nigerian Air Force, and member of the Partnership Alliance for Safe Schools. Thank you so much for joining us, Group Captain.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Good evening to you. I'm sure you've always been a part of this initiative, talking about the Safe School initiative. But looking at what is happening at the moment, the cry for survival or staying in school to get the proper education is the outcry, especially based on the recent attacks we're seeing in Borno and Oyo State. What do you make of this? Going by the plans that are already in place, now talking about the Safe Schools initiative, we have that already in place, which is supposed to mend these bottlenecks.
Thank you very much. School safety and the safety of our children, which as parents, I think these are our greatest assets, is still posing a challenge. In your background story, you know, we're aware of the efforts that have been made by the police, civil defense, including setting up special task forces. But as always, they say the taste of the pudding is in the eating. In most of the instances where we have this, you know, school abductions or attack on schools, unfortunately, we have not seen these special squads, you know, actually on the ground to do their work. So if you ask me, my honest opinion is that despite the resources and the planning, Safe School in Nigeria has still remained, you know, Abuja-centric, without really trickling down to areas where this school safety is a great challenge. We are yet to see it, you know, having effect, you know, to stop, because, okay, even the last two incidents, the one in Borno and the one in Oyo State, which are still battling, I did not hear about any special squad that is there, or, you know, what they did, when did they arrive. So the truth is that we have to try. You know, school safety, unfortunately, like I said, even you, the media, you have a role to play. We only wait until one school is attacked, then it becomes an issue for the next 3-5 days, then we forget, then we come. School safety is, you know, it's not something, a one-off something. It should be an attitude. It should be a policy. It should be a directive on how to make schools safe. When we say school safety, we do not mean a school where there is a soldier or there's a policeman armed standing. It's not possible to have that. But when we say safe school, it's a school that can prevent, a school that is prepared to react, a school that even despite everything, school attacks happen, from the teachers to the students to the pupils, everybody is aware of what it's going to do. So this is what, in essence, is school safety. And what do you mean in that? There are issues of physical security, like one of the commentators said here. We still build schools that don't have any, I mean, you can enter it from the left, right, center, north, west, and there is no gate. We still build schools where we don't have perimeter fences. We still have schools that don't have anything like a security plan. We have schools that don't do drills. That's whenever the attackers come, both the teachers and the students, nobody knows what exactly to do. We still have schools that even after attack, we take 2 days, sometimes up to 7 days, I've counted, without really knowing how many pupils or how many students were taken.
Okay. Group Captain, you're a stakeholder too, because you are a member of the Partnership Alliance for Safe Schools. So let's get these recommendations based on the challenges that are already glaring. The schools, we saw the porous environment. What should be the way forward? The NSCDC should be at the forefront of this initiative. And we're seeing states, you know, saying, okay, we understand these schools need to be secured, but what measures really should be in place? Practical steps now.
Now, when you say a school should be secured, there are about 3 or 4 aspects that you have to look at. First, the physical security. When we say physical security, is what you can see visibly, what you can touch. Things like gate, things like perimeter fences, things like bollards, things like guards themselves. These are physical security. You also have to look at issues of procedural security. What do I mean by procedural security? Whether government schools or private schools, I think the government has a role in registering private schools, private schools. So there should be standards For all schools, they must try and meet the standards that are set by the Ministry of Education. For schools to be developed, we should have standards of what kind of gate will you put, how strong will be the entrances, and so on and so forth. This can be, we can formulate this thing and give schools, and also ensure that each school, at least they do drills, whether it is quarterly, whether it is yearly, so that both the students and the teachers, they are practiced of what they will do in case something happens. That is on the part of procedure. You also have to talk about electronic, or you can say technical security. Here we're talking like the CCTV. Of course, not every school can afford CCTV, but they can improvise. CCTV, telephones, communication trees. That is, if one person has an information about school attack, who does he contact? These things can be. I have seen schools, to be fair, I've seen schools that have even thought out of the boxes. I did some work with UNICEF in Abuja State. We have schools that all they need is a whistle. They will do a long blast of whistle. The students and the teachers know what is happening. If they do 3 blasts of whistle, it means something. So it's not really something complicated. The schools that have money, the private schools will pay for, they can put CCTV, but those that cannot, they can improvise. So you see the physical security, the procedural security, and then the technical security. Radios, you should provide radios for the security men. Then the personnel security. What is personnel security? Both the teachers, the security, and the students, they should be practiced on what to do.
You're talking about simulation exercise.
Exactly, okay. Exactly. We see this in other advanced countries. Even a 5-year-old guy going to kindergarten, he knows what to do when he hears shooting. He knows that automatically he should not be running. He should lie down on the ground. These are things that we can do. Again, it's not all bad news. With the work that I did, I can recall one school in Abuja State in Al-Kaliri local government called Government Senior Science Secondary School, Gwer. Honest, we saw children that were, told when the teacher blows a whistle, they know what to do. They know how to account for themselves. So, but to be honest with you, this thing has not trickled down to most of the states. Okay. After launching big programs in Abuja, the police launched their own, civil defense launched their own. That's where it stops. Okay. We take pictures, but that is the end.
So, Group Captain, you've mentioned the simulation exercise, which can be adopted, and also the installation of this technology that could aid the safety of the schools. Yes. Let's look at community engagement, because most of these schools on target, so to say, in these communities, rural communities, engaging these communities, equipping them with the know-how, so to say, so that they can also provide a supportive environment for the education in their vicinity. How can communities be engaged and be carried along, especially also in the aspect of intelligence sharing, which is also crucial?
Very important. There is no school that is not within a community. So the security in the community impacts on the community of the school. You cannot separate them.
Yeah.
Some experts, or I can say some donor agencies and youth agencies like UNICEF, they have helped states, to set up what is called school-based management committees. These school-based management committees, they have traditional rulers, they have leaders within the community, they have even all students, because in rural areas mostly, the people that did a particular primary school, they are still living within that area. So I've seen it work in many areas. But like I said, when these agencies, whether UN, they cannot be there forever. When they do a model, it's for state governments to carry it forward and replicate it. But unfortunately, when the agencies go into a state and they take like 5 or 10 model schools and do, that's where it stops. You come back after 1 year, after 2 years, the state governments themselves, they have not done anything. So it's really, everybody has a role to play from federal government. I like the way I saw the Minister of Education, taking the role. Again, that's an issue of coordination. Ideally, when you take up safe schools, Ministry of Education, whether at federal or state, should be the lead agency. We have a situation at the federal level where sometimes it is Ministry of Finance that is leading safe school. It really wouldn't work. And even when you go to international seminars on these safe schools, you find that agencies that have to do with education, because it's an education issue. Ministry of Education, I said I commend this minister because I know when we started doing the Safe School initiative during the Buhari administration, the excuse given by Federal Ministry of Education is that they have few schools, and as such, they cannot take the lead. Whereas they are the one who even brought the Safe School Declaration to Nigeria to be implemented. So, Ministry of Education at federal and state should take the lead, while other agencies like the security agencies, they have a play. But I do not agree that it's not even really a security kind of issue. It is an educational issue. You have to look at it like that and let the Minister of Education lead, while of course the police and the civil defense can give. But most importantly, like I said, please, let's move from all these high-profile launches and move to the schools where they need security, and let's see all this special squad, women's squad of CSDC, let's see them working.
And the ministry also came out to say that they have to move, from a reactive approach to a well-structured and coordinated approach. And you've hammered the point of coordination. There's also the aspect of constraint and funding. You can have this technology you mentioned in place, or even the security personnel to be on ground without adequate funding, which has been mentioned as a challenge. How would you react?
It is a very big challenge. Yeah. Again, like I said, in some of the work I have done, at least I have visited some 7 or 9 states, you find that even the Babame guard, it is the PTA that pays for him. I've seen states like that. So they will tell you that there is no money for security. Security is very expensive, and it's not a one-off something. We have to learn, just like we value our children, we also have to value, the resources that we put in them. Really honest, very little is given to school safety and security. We just believe once you build a school, without gates, without perimeter, the local government chairman or governor come and cut the tape, then people can start going. But with the threats we are having, we are seeing that we have to move school safety to become a culture. It has become a standard. Every state, with federal government, a federal Minister of Education given standards, should give standards of safety for physical security. What are the standards that a school must do? It should be part of a requirement for registration and re-registration for private schools. So this is the issue that has, unless you do that, honest will continue having one kidnap after another, then we'll come and talk in the media. This is about the second or third time I'm coming to this year interview, and it always happens after an attack. But what normally happens, like I say, after 5 days, 6 days, we pay the ransom, or somehow the children are returned, then we forget until another kidnap happens. School safety is something that should be taken as a matter of course. It is part of the educational system, not something apart. In fact, for schools that are going to be built, right from building the school, from the design, the architects or the building engineers should work with security people. For example, if you are building a school, like we see in most schools, you don't put the gate just at the tip of a major road, because that makes it easy for somebody to grab children and go. You have to have what is called step back, so that anybody wishing to come, he has to move some distance before he gets to the gate, and that gives, whether it is the guard people or other people, at least some reaction time that somebody is coming. If you go and put a gate at the mouth of a highway, which is where some schools are, already that is a very bad design.
Okay.
Yes.
Group Captain, if I respond to what you mentioned earlier, at least the Nigerian Television Authority is amplifying the advocacy, raising the tempo, and that's why we're having this conversation again. So let's take a break. We'll be back. Stay tuned. Glad to know you're there. Now, despite improvements recorded since the introduction of the Safe School Initiative, that was in 2014, we're still seeing pockets of insecurity, talking about the insecurity happening in some schools. Let's get our next report from Maiduguri.
The Safe School Initiative has no doubt supported the rehabilitation of damaged schools, construction of protective infrastructure, deployment of security personnel, establishment of learning centers in displacement camps, and increased awareness on emergency preparedness among students and communities prone to attack. The initiative has also strengthened collaboration among government agencies, local communities, humanitarian partners, and international organizations in supporting education during emergencies.
In the aspect of basic education, there's a lot of achievements, from 2.2 million children out of school in 2021 to less than 800 today, with a massive, which was aided by a massive infrastructural boost, where 104 mega schools were built, 1,089 classrooms were reconstructed. A lot of schools, including the flood-affected schools, have been rehabilitated.
However, security challenges in schools have evolved beyond physical attacks, as recently witnessed in some communities within Chibok and Askiroba local government areas.
In Maiduguri here, we're trying our possible best to see that the schools are well and adequately protected. We have devised a means towards achieving that.
To address present-day security realities, government and stakeholders must adopt a more comprehensive school safety framework that combines physical protection, community-based intelligence, psychosocial support, digital monitoring systems, and sustainable insurance coverage for schools in high-risk areas. Achieving safe and resilient education in Borno State will require a long-term strategy that integrates security, financial protection, and community participation to support learners and teachers affected by conflict.
All right, Group Captain, we're seeing what Borno is doing despite the unfortunate incident that happened. But I want you to tell us in practical terms, when you say a school is safe, what are the things to look out for? Now, marry that with affordable technologies that can be deployed, especially in rural areas where the schools are high targets.
Thank you very much. Yes, in practical terms, if you remove all the technical jargon, when you say a school is safe, it's a school that is prepared for any eventuality. It's a school that is ready to, that has measures to prevent. It's a school that has measures to detect. It's a school that has, measures to react when prevention and detection fails. Then, when it happens, what are you going to do? For example, when you say a school is safe, even from approaching the school, how the gate is placed to the school, is the gate just standing by the highway? That will be a misnomer. That will be a sign of problem, because it makes it very easy for somebody to come and grab children and run away. An approach to a school should be a way that whoever is coming will have to, move some distance from the main road before he gets to the gate. That will discourage anybody who has some bad plans from going to such a school. I should also be able to see clearly security people, not necessarily police or soldiers, because honestly they are never enough, but schools on security.
What about vigilantes?
Vigilantes, whether school security, whether vigilantes that can visibly, a visitor is coming, he will see very alert, not Baba Megad. I always question about Baba Megad. What do Baba Megad? You find an 80-year-old soldier, a former soldier or policeman, and then you say he is the one who is the Megad there. You just go and be sleeping. You need an able-bodied person that anybody with a mindset of doing something harm, he will see that person. That is one. Secondly, you also want to see a school has a gate so that an entrance should not be more than 2. Even the second one should be like an emergency entrance, so that you cannot enter the school from anywhere you want. That's why you are seeing a safe school. Additionally, if you are a parent, you should be able to ask, what are the procedures in case there is shooting in the school? What are the procedures if there is a kidnap on the school? What is the school going to do? Who is the teacher or master that is in charge of security? There has to be a focal point who is in charge of that security. You also have to look at the surrounding of the school. In the visuals that you show in that Oyo State, with due respect, you can see how bushy inside the school is. Even living a school compound very bushy, is another way of giving a bad guy somewhere to hide. School should be kept.
Very quickly, Group Captain.
Yes.
So sorry to cut in.
Yes.
The affordable technologies.
Affordable technologies, even as we're talking of CCTV, the reality is that not every school can afford CCTV. In fact, there's even the issue of electricity. But like I said, I have seen schools that use ordinary whistle. They use whistle, the different, whether it's a long blast, whether it's short blast, 2, 3. The students are taught when you hear 2 blasts of long whistle, this is what you are supposed to do. If you hear 3 blasts of long whistle, this is what you are supposed to do. So we should be able to think out of the box. We should be able to think out of the box, you understand? There are areas I visited where if there are suspicion of bandits that are coming, they will use a town crier. A town crier goes around and say nobody should come to school tomorrow. I have seen that actually in play in somewhere in Niger State. So the issue when we say affordable technology, it is very true, because if you put something that is complicated, we are not really at that level. We are still struggling with electricity. But again, another thing I must mention, you see, you have to while looking for improvement, you have to also commend what is done in Borno State. I saw the state government, as much as possible trying to put solar panels in schools. That takes care, at least to some extent, of issue of security. Okay. Also in Niger State, I saw some some, I think it's a UN agency, UNICEF, they provided the school authorities with a kind of beeping radio, which is connected with the police headquarters. So if there's any problem, there's a teacher that will touch something and then it will replicate. But unfortunately, as of the time I went, this was given to only 20 schools in Niger State. Like I said, the idea is for the state to, upscale and do for other
All right. Group captain, I know you're passionate about this, and this is an advocacy that shouldn't end here, like you've been hammering. I'm sure you will lend your voices to other platforms, but for us here in the Nigerian Television Authority, we want to see our children safe in school. So we'll continue to, increase the advocacy. Thank you so much for coming on.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, let's take a break. We'll be back. Do stay tuned.